The sun-baked border between Texas and Mexico has always been a line in the sand, law on one side, chaos on the other. But on one scorching August morning near Red River Station, that line is about to disappear. They found her badge lying in the dirt. Sierra Walsh, Border Patrol agent, presumed captured by the Los Sangre Negra cartel. Local police called it a tragedy. The media called it a dangerous escalation. The cartel, a warning. But they were all wrong, because what none of them knew was who she really was. Sierra Walsh wasn't just a Border Patrol agent. She was one of the first women ever to earn the Navy SEAL Trident. And now, in the heart of cartel territory, she's about to turn this so-called kidnapping into a one-woman war. Over the next 3 days, the hunters will become the hunted, and the world will learn that some ghosts fight back, hard. She'll show why some women aren't victims, and why the most lethal predator isn't always the one making the most noise. They thought they were sending a message. They just started a war. Before we dive deeper, drop a comment with where you're watching from. And if this story hits you, hit subscribe, because tomorrow, I've got something even more intense waiting for you. 48 hours earlier, Sierra Walsh lowers her sunglasses against the brutal Texas glare, eyes sweeping the horizon with the calm precision of someone who sees more than most. At checkpoint 7, she looks like any other agent, calm, focused, doing her job. What people don't see is how she tracks tire prints in the dirt, or notices broken branches that signal someone's been watching, patterns in the dust, things most would overlook. Quiet morning, her partner Finn mutters, sipping lukewarm coffee. Too quiet, she replies, eyes still scanning. She's counted 3 cartel scout positions in the hills this week alone. Los Sangre Negra is getting bold, too bold. The radio crackles. Checkpoint 7, be advised, suspicious movement in Sector 4. Multiple vehicles spotted off-road. Copy that, Sierra answers, then turns to Finn. I'll check it out. I'll drive, he says, already moving. Not this time, she says firmly. Something feels off. Stay and cover the checkpoint. She doesn't say she's been tracking a pattern. Calculated, staged, too convenient. The patrol SUV kicks up dust as she heads out alone. In her rearview mirror, a dark SUV slips onto the road, keeping its distance. A tail. Amateurs compared to who's tracked her in the past. The radio chirps again. Agent Walsh, Commander Pierce says wait for backup. Copy that, she responds, but her foot doesn't leave the gas. If there are smugglers in Sector 4, we can't risk losing them. She doesn't mention the tail. Let them think they have the upper hand. The road twists through rocky canyons, perfect ambush zones. She notes them all, calculating exits and fallback spots. Now 2 more SUVs join the first. A coordinated move, too polished to be random. Dispatch, be advised. Road conditions worsening, may lose radio contact. Then she accidentally clicks her mic, creating static. Let them believe she's cut off. She pulls over in a narrow canyon, steps out like she's checking her dashboard. Behind her, the SUVs stop too, keeping their distance. In her mirror, she counts at least 8 figures moving in the rocks, armed. Their gear is solid, their formation decent, but they're too confident. That's their weakness. Her phone buzzes. Backup 15 minutes out. Commander's livid. She types back, tell him I'm sorry. This isn't just another cartel stunt. This is a message, a power move. Prove they can kidnap a federal agent in broad daylight. Then it happens. First shot, rear tire. Second, engine block. Precise, controlled. They want her alive. Their second mistake. Sierra lets the vehicle spin slightly, just enough to sell the illusion of panic. But in her head, she's already counting footsteps. Gravel shifts, 8 on foot, 3 in SUVs, 2 flanking, 13 total. A voice booms in accented English. Border Patrol, drop your weapon. She sees him. Tactical gear, custom rifle, smug like a man who's done this before. But he's never met Sierra Walsh. And by the time this is over, he never will again. This isn't just another raid. This is Oscar Medina, the cartel's top lieutenant. Last chance, Agent Walsh, he calls out. Come quietly, and this doesn't have to get messy. Sierra glances at her watch. Backup's still 10 minutes out. Perfect. She won't need nearly that long. Okay, she replies, raising her hand slowly. I'm coming out. Every move is calculated, deliberate. She lets them think they're in control. But the truth? They're not even part of the real game that's about to begin. The sun scorches Red River Station as Sierra steps out, hands high, fear on her face, but not in her eyes. Because beneath the badge, behind the uniform, behind the facade of a regular border agent, is a predator trained in far darker arenas. The gravel crunches under her boots. Oscar Medina strides forward, flanked by 2 armed guards. His custom AR-15 slung low. Casual, careless. Rookie mistake. A true professional never lets his guard down, never assumes submission means surrender. Check her for weapons, Medina orders. One of his men steps up, grabbing her sidearm. Sierra notes everything. His stance, how he favors his left. Ex-military, likely former Mexican special forces. Skilled, but complacent. Money and power do that. No backup piece? Medina asks. Budget cuts, Sierra answers, adding a tremble to her voice. Just enough to sell it. Let them think she's scared. Let them believe she's in over her head. 3 SUVs, 13 men, military-grade hardware. The rear vehicle rides heavy. Something loaded in back. Not just drugs, something else. You've been a real problem, Agent Walsh, Medina says, circling like a shark. Intercepting shipments, harassing our spotters. Very impressive, for a rookie. Just doing my job, she says. Without warning, he grabs her by the throat. Quick, aggressive, but not quick enough. She could shatter his arm before he takes another breath. Instead, she lets him see panic in her eyes. Your job, he sneers, was to look the other way, like your smarter colleagues. He lets go, steps back. Now you'll help us send a message. Her radio crackles. Unit 247, what's your status? Medina signals. One of his men rips the radio from her belt. Tell them everything's fine, he says. Make it sound real. Sierra responds calmly. This is Unit 247. False alarm in Sector 4. Returning to checkpoint. She slips in the code phrase for duress. Weather's getting rough. Knowing it won't matter. Backup will be too late. Medina pulls out a satellite phone, orders one of his men to make the call. Sierra catches key Spanish phrases. Package secured, en route to location 3. The reply makes everyone around her stiffen. It's Alejandro Espinosa himself, El Jefe. He wants to meet Sierra, personally. Bag her, Medina says. They pull a cheap black hood over her head, polyester, low quality. She could rip it off in seconds, but she plays along, struggling just enough to be believable. They zip-tie her hands. Another mistake. Plastic cuffs are child's play for someone like her. As they load her into the SUV, Sierra silently tracks everything. 2 men beside her, Medina 3 steps back, standard escort formation. The middle SUV groans as they climb in. Transmission whines. Low gear trouble, noted. Could come in handy later. A voice crackles over the radio. Package secured. En route to Casa Muerte. They're heading southeast, winding through desert backroads. She counts every turn. Estimates speed, charts direction. This is no random outpost. It's a major compound. After 20 minutes, the road shifts from pavement to dirt, then back to fresh concrete. A private road, recently built. The guards are relaxed, joking about how easy the grab was. They don't realize the storm they've just invited in. One voice stands out. Calm, cold, professional. Diego Roas, the cartel's chief enforcer. He's not here for jokes. His presence means this isn't just a message. This is planning, strategy. Something bigger is coming. The convoy stops twice. First at a checkpoint, their own men, judging by the relaxed chatter. The second stop is longer. Heavy trucks rumble past. A full-scale logistics route. This isn't drug smuggling. This is military-scale movement. After 43 minutes, they arrive. The SUV descends into what feels like an underground garage. Echoes bounce off the walls. A large structure, secure, reinforced. They pull her from the car, guide her through 2 security doors and down a hallway that reeks of fresh paint and gun oil. Then they remove the hood. A bright light blinds her. Concrete walls, no windows, just the beginning, and they still think they're in control. Disoriented but focused, Sierra scans the room. One steel-reinforced door, two surveillance cameras in opposite corners, a vent, too small to escape through, three guards, plus Medina and Roas. She takes mental notes while playing her part. "Welcome to Casa Muerte," Roas growls, his voice like crushed stone. "I hope you'll enjoy your stay." He turns to Medina. "El Jefe wants her in one piece, no permanent damage." Medina scoffs. "We could make her talk." "She's not here to talk," Roas cuts in, cold and certain. "She's here to break, to be the example, to show every Border Patrol agent what happens when they defy us." Sierra locks eyes with him, letting fear and defiance flicker across her face, just enough for the cameras. Inside, she's already working. This compound is far more advanced than she expected, reinforced, organized. This isn't just about border trafficking, it's bigger, more dangerous. "Get some rest, Agent Walsh," Roas says as he exits. "Tomorrow you meet El Jefe himself." The door slams, locks click shut. Sierra collapses against the wall, exhausted and defeated, or so it seems. In reality, she's processing everything. They just handed their deadliest enemy a guided tour of their entire facility. Tomorrow, they'll learn what it means to try and cage a predator. Inside the surveillance room, Roas watches her on the monitor. "She's too calm," he mutters. "Even the tough ones crack by now." "She'll break like the rest," Medina says, though his voice lacks conviction. Back in her cell, Sierra allows herself the faintest smirk. The shadows hide it well. Everything is unfolding exactly as planned. By this time tomorrow, the hunters will learn what it's like to become prey. If you've made it this far, thank you. We put a lot of work into telling this story right, so hit subscribe if you're hooked, because the next part is going to change everything. Now back to it. Morning breaks. Boots thud against the concrete floor. Sierra hasn't slept, though the cameras think otherwise. She spent the night listening, tracking guard patterns, memorizing steps, patrol shifts, facility layout. 3 shifts, a patrol every 15 minutes. Heavier movement in the east wing, likely the transport hub. The door swings open. Medina enters with 4 guards. Time to meet El Jefe. They haul Sierra up, rough hands and cold glares, and she plays along, giving them just the right amount of resistance. The path they take, already mapped. 2 rights, a left, past the armory, metal door with keycard access. 2 more guards. At a security checkpoint, she glimpses monitors, internal camera feeds, compound schematics. She captures it all. They lead her down a corridor scented with cologne and roasted coffee. Not exactly cartel vibes. Then, the room. More boardroom than bunker. Mahogany desk, leather chairs, dozens of screens flashing live security and financial data. Alejandro Espinosa, tailored suit, polished shoes, all businessman on the outside, but his eyes, they belong to a predator. "Agent Walsh," he says, his English near perfect. "Apologies for the accommodations." "Please sit." She stays on her feet until a guard forces her down. Let them think it's resistance. In truth, she's scoping every exit, every angle. 2 doors, floor-to-ceiling windows, a clear view of the yard, 3 stories up. The building across the courtyard? The angle is perfect for what she has in mind. "Coffee," Espinosa offers. She stays silent. He shrugs. "I believe in maintaining civility, even under difficult circumstances." "Civilization?" Her voice is rough, measured. "Is that what this is?" "This is business," he replies coolly. "A business you've disrupted." He sits on the edge of his desk, gaze never leaving hers. "Do you know what happens to people who disrupt my business?" "You offer them coffee?" His smile tightens. The mask almost slips. "Humor. Good. You'll need that." He nods to Medina, who hands him a tablet. "Tell me about Operation Longhorn," Espinosa says. Sierra doesn't blink, but inside her mind spins. That operation is classified. A joint DEA border patrol strike against cartel supply chains. Only a few senior agents should know it exists. "Never heard of it." Espinosa flips the screen toward her. Border Patrol files, her assignment, mission details. You're assigned to Checkpoint 7, supporting the operation. He smirks. We have friends in high places, Agent Walsh. Very well-informed friends. Someone inside Border Patrol is compromised. Sierra files that away. One more piece of the puzzle. She glances out the window. More transport trucks arriving. Way too many for simple drug ops. This is scale. Infrastructure. Something else is going on. And speaking of friends, Espinosa adds, yours are quite concerned. Commander Pierce has organized search parties. Agent O'Connor is blaming himself for letting you go alone. He watches her reaction. It'd be a shame if more agents had to die because of your pride. What do you want? She asks. Information, names, dates, upcoming operations? He sets the tablet down. Give me that, and you walk out of here. A clean slate. A generous retirement package. Sierra lets her eyes flick to the door, just enough to suggest she's thinking about it. And if I refuse? Espinosa smiles, cold and hollow. Then Diego gets to do what he does best. From the yard below, a sudden commotion cuts through the tension. One of the transport trucks screeches into the compound, container damaged, workers scrambling. Sierra catches a glimpse through the chaos. Not drugs, weapons, military-grade hardware that has no business being this close to the border. Trouble? She asks, feigning innocence. Espinosa's smile fades. Take her back to her cell, he says. Let her think about her options. The guards move in, but Roa speaks up. El Jefe, the timeline. 3 days, Espinosa interrupts. She'll break before then. 3 days. That's the clock now. Whatever this operation is, it detonates in 72 hours. As they drag her back, Sierra steals one last look through the window. More trucks arriving, workers moving fast and with purpose. Everyone's focused. Perfect. Back in her cell, she hears Roas and Medina arguing in the hallway. Something's wrong, Roas growls. Did you see how she watched the yard? She's Border Patrol, Medina scoffs. They all do that. Not like this, Roas insists. She's different. In the shadows, Sierra smiles. If only they knew how right he was. She closes her eyes, walking back through everything she's observed. Corrupt Border Patrol officers, illegal weapons, a looming 3-day deadline. The pieces are falling into place, and this picture? It's bigger than she ever imagined. A guard arrives with food, decent even. Another piece of Espinosa's civilized mask. Sierra eats methodically, fueling up, because tonight, the next phase begins. Let them believe she's wavering. Let them think they still have time. Through the concrete wall, she feels the vibration of another truck arriving. They're stockpiling weapons, planning something massive, coordinated, military-grade, something only she was trained to unravel from the inside. In his office, Espinosa watches the camera feed. Keep an eye on her, he tells Roas. Something's off. You want me to start the pressure tonight? Roas asks. No, Espinosa says coolly. Let her stew. Sometimes anticipation breaks them faster than pain. If only they knew. The only countdown happening is Sierra's. Because she's not waiting for rescue. She's preparing to turn their fortress into their tomb. Night falls. A shift change rolls in. New guards. Slower routines. Sierra lies motionless on her thin mattress, every sense tuned to the heartbeat of the compound. The guard outside her cell, getting lazy, checking his phone every few minutes. The cameras? She timed it earlier. 3-second lag. Then, engines. Different ones. Civilian vehicles trying too hard not to stand out. A door slams above. Multiple footsteps. A meeting. Block C all clear, a voice crackles on a radio. She clocks the patrol gaps. They're widening. Confidence breeds laziness. In the distance, the familiar sound of an argument. Medina and Roas again. El Jefe is being too cautious, Medina snaps. We can't damage her before the exchange, Roas fires back. The buyer wants proof that our law enforcement control is complete. Sierra files that detail away. They don't just want to break her, They want to show her off. Proof that the cartel owns the system. Then, a new voice joins in. Older. Texan drawl, out of place. "Your containment better hold," the man warns. "My boys can't keep the search teams away much longer without raising suspicion." Chief Reynolds, local police. Add another corrupted player to the game. Footsteps approach her cell. Sierra stays still, the picture of quiet defeat. A guard enters holding another tray. Better food than before, still playing good cop, bad cop. "Dinner time, border rat," he sneers, but his eyes keep flicking toward the corridor. He's nervous. Something's shifting. Sierra sits up slowly, every move precise. "Any chance of a shower?" she asks, voice low. "Your boss says he wants to maintain some civilization, right?" The guard hesitates, not part of the script. But he's been watching her for hours, seen only compliance. "I'll check," he mutters, stepping out. The moment he's gone, Sierra smiles. First thread pulled. In a machine this big, sometimes bureaucracy is the sharpest weapon of all. Through the wall, she hears more trucks being unloaded. The workers, tired, careless, start talking louder. Bits and pieces drift in. Weapons, buyers, destinations. And then, another explosion of voices. Roas is furious. "Warehouse 3 is missing inventory! Someone skimming? My men would never—" "Tell that to El Jefe. 5 crates of AR-15s don't just vanish." Sierra files it away. Warehouse 3. The missing weapons? A lie she planted earlier. A casual comment during dinner. Funny what people believe when the blame starts flying. The guard returns. "You get 10 minutes, he says. "But any trouble?" Roas gets his wish. The moment his name is mentioned, Sierra lets fear flicker across her face. Not real fear, a calculated performance. And on the way to the showers, she collects everything she needs. Patrol routes, camera blind spots, guard positions. The showers themselves? Crude but revealing. Gun oil, cordite in the drains. They're not just bathing in here, they're cleaning weapons, a hidden armory. 8 minutes, the guard grunts. Sierra takes 7, obedient, controlled. Every step back to her cell adds another layer to her mental blueprint. 2 guards posted at the weapons cache. A keycard reader at the main door. 3 patrol routes crossing on predictable loops. Cameras everywhere, except for one 3-meter gap near the southeast corner. Back in her cell, more voices drift through the vents. Chief Reynolds again, angry. 3 days isn't enough to clear the checkpoints. Border Patrol's running extra patrols since Walsh disappeared, he complains. "That's your problem," Roas snaps. "The buyers won't wait. You want your payout. Make it happen." Sierra closes her eyes. It's coming together. This isn't drug smuggling. It's a military-scale operation. They're exploiting patrol blind spots, bribing local law enforcement, and the clock's ticking. Suddenly, chaos erupts near Warehouse 3. Another shipment. Missing. Sierra listens, still and focused, as Medina and Roas clash again. In operations like this, power runs on 2 things, fear and trust. Break one, and the other turns to poison. "El Jefe wants to see you both." A guard's voice trembles. Even he knows how bad this looks. Sierra waits until their footsteps vanish down the hall. Then she moves. The camera shows her sleeping. No one sees her slip a thin wire from beneath her mattress, scavenged from the shower drain. In his office, Espinosa watches the screen. "She's too quiet," he murmurs. "Most break by now." "Want me to push her?" Roas offers. "No," Espinosa says. "Just watch. Something's off." If they were better trained, they'd notice her breathing pattern doesn't match REM sleep, that her resting posture allows full visibility of the cell door, that every movement has been meticulously rehearsed. But they're not trained to hunt ghosts, and that's going to get them killed. Dawn breaks, and chaos follows. Sierra listens as arguments flare across the compound. Warehouse 3 is in full panic. The number of missing crates keeps growing, exaggerated by rumor, fueled by fear. Accusations fly. "This is your area," Medina shouts. My men are loyal, Roas snarls back. Unlike those too busy counting money to count inventory, Sierra smiles in the dark. Amazing how a few casual comments to the right guard can bring an entire operation to its knees. Sun Tzu would be proud. The door slams open. Roas stands there, fury burning in his eyes. Get up, El Jefe wants to talk. This time, they take her a different way, past Warehouse 3. Through the open doors, she sees it. Crates of M4 carbines, Barrett .50 cals, and even Javelin missile systems. This isn't cartel gear. This is frontline U.S. military stock. New, untouched, with connections that go far beyond the border. Espinosa's office feels different. Gone is the smooth-talking host. What's left is rage, barely restrained. Perhaps I was too hospitable yesterday, he says coldly as Sierra is shoved into a chair. Now things have gone missing, expensive things, and suddenly my men are at each other's throats. Sounds like a management problem, Sierra mutters, letting her voice crack with weariness. The slap is sharp, expected, but she takes it. She lets them think she's cracking. No more games, Espinosa growls. You will tell me everything about Operation Longhorn, surveillance zones, checkpoint schedules, patrol routes, so you can sneak your weapons through the blind spots? He freezes, just for a second. But Sierra sees it. She wasn't supposed to know about the weapons, the guard from the showers. He'll be dead by nightfall. Espinosa regains his composure. Interesting theory, he says flatly. He turns to Roas. Show her why cooperation is better than speculation. What follows is 30 minutes of pain, measured, efficient, professional. She's had worse in SEAL training, but she gives them what they came for, a slow crumble. Just enough resistance to make her surrender believable. When she finally gasps out details on Operation Longhorn, it's strategic, real enough to be verified, useless enough to be harmless. The Western checkpoints, she pants, understaffed, budget cuts hit hard. Espinosa offers her a water bottle. See, civilization always wins. He opens his mouth to continue, but a commotion outside interrupts. Through the window, Sierra spots 3 black SUVs, occupants in tactical gear, moving like professionals, private military, the buyers. Put her back in her cell, Espinosa orders. We'll finish later. As the guards drag her out, she passes a conference room, Chief Reynolds on the phone. I don't care what Border Patrol says, he hisses. Keep the search teams focused up north. By the time they figure it out, it'll be too late. Back in her cell, Sierra assesses her injuries. Minor, superficial. They still need her whole. But they have no idea how fast their time is running out. Sierra Walsh was never just a Border Patrol agent. She was a ghost, trained to dismantle empires from within. Captured by the Los Sangre Negra cartel, she quickly confirmed what she suspected. This wasn't about drugs. This was about military-grade weapons, corrupt officials, and an international operation selling arms to multiple buyers. Through the walls, she heard Russian, Arabic, and Eastern European accents, proof that this was bigger than anyone realized. As paranoia spread, Sierra fed the chaos, planting doubt, watching trust tear like wet paper. Every whispered comment, every false lead, every manipulated patrol route, all part of her plan to bring the compound to its knees. By the time the cartel realized she wasn't just a prisoner, it was too late. She turned their cameras, their corridors, their routines against them. With a lockpick made from a shower drain and intel gathered under the guise of compliance, she escaped. Not to run, but to strike. One explosion triggered panic. False flags led Medina and Roas to blame each other. Buyers panicked. Trust crumbled. The fortress became a trap, and Sierra was the only one with the map. And just as she revealed herself, Espinosa, the man who built the empire, finally realized who he was dealing with. She wasn't sent to gather intel. She was the contingency plan. Echo 7, Ghost Unit. The one you send when all else fails. As the DEA and Border Patrol stormed the collapsing compound, Sierra uncovered a deeper truth. The weapons weren't for the cartel. They were funneled through Blackstone, a private military contractor with ties to governments, intelligence agencies, and operations that never officially happened. And Espinosa? Just a middleman. The real war had just begun. When a mysterious message led Sierra to an abandoned ranch, she found herself face to face with a man from her past. A high-level ghost, once her ally, now an enforcer for the people behind it all. An ambush unfolded. But Sierra, as always, turned their tactics against them. Non-lethal takedowns, precision strikes, surgical dismantling. Then came the name, Operation Ghostwalker, a buried mission from her past in Syria. The day everything changed. Now the real enemy had a face. As Red River Station became the next battlefield, multiple convoys closed in. Not Cartel, Blackstone, professionals, elite, and Sierra was ready. She turned the federal building into a fortress. Every corridor a trap, every server secured, and when they came, she broadcast everything: financial records, military contracts, global links to a private empire built in the shadows. And when her old commander, Colonel Marcus Wright, the man who tried to bury her team, arrived to finish the job, Sierra met him head-on. Two warriors, teacher and student, predator and ghost. Only one would walk away. Wright's elite teams fell, not because they weren't skilled, but because Sierra had already written the ending. Every move they made was predicted, every tactic countered, every lie exposed. The empire collapsed in one night. Across 3 continents, arrests followed. Military contractors, corrupt officials, cartel bosses, all dragged into the light. And Sierra? She disappeared again, because ghosts don't chase headlines. They hunt predators in the dark and remind the world that some secrets will never stay buried.